Einen wunderschönen. Willkommen zum heutigen Abend. Willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Rosewater. Und wir haben den berühmten Doktor gefunden. Das Problem ist nur, seine ganze Forschung scheint in irgendeine Art Waffe hier geflossen zu sein. Das haben wir beim letzten Mal mitbekommen. Und wir gucken mal, was wir hier noch so sehen.
Who knows what they keep in there?
Na, mach auf.
Not while Clark's around.
Ja, okay.
It appears to be a charging device. There's a small round socket at the top.
Ladegerät, okay. Was ist das da?
It's displaying all sorts of numbers and readings I can't begin to comprehend.
Wollen wir hier auch wieder rausgehen? Ja, können wir. Okay.
So this is Project Rosewater. Looks like some demented puzzle box. The lab assistant's desk. She's written some notes, but I have no idea what they mean.
Das ist schlecht. Soll ich denn das dann wissen?
I don't think I'm allowed in there. At least, not while there's someone watching.
Können wir hier raus? Ja.
That was really something.
So Laporte's got Clark developing etheric weapons for the military. This throws a wrench in Shaw's plans.
How horrible. Instead of something good to benefit humanity, ethericity is being harnessed to produce suffering and death. Perhaps Dr. Clark will be open to the idea of leaving this project for something less distasteful.
Perhaps. But I can't just ask him with his assistant right there. Maybe I can get her to leave the testing chamber so I can have a moment alone with Clark.
Dass vielleicht erpresst wird.
I can see the testing area. Some kind of little oven for heating food, I think. This thing is in dire need of repairs.
Hier komme ich. Ach doch, komme ich.
A couple of wires from that food heating device.
Ah, nehmen wir mit. Haben wir hier die Möglichkeit, über echt zu gehen? Tatsache. Können wir auch wieder zurück nach oben?
Nothing.
Ah, nee. Weil wir bräuchten die hier, ne? Geht nicht.
This contraption has a keypad instead of a slot. It must need a code.
Okay.
Odd device. Looks like it's meant to be spoken into.
I don't think you should, though.
Ja, das sollte man nicht. Okay.
Looks like a more complex version of the console back in Clark's desert lab. Controls, gauges, and dials. Who knows what they're for? These tomatoes are thriving. Must be all the exposure to ethericity. There's a card slot next to the door. Seems to be locked. There's no handle. The box is full of odds and ends. Some sewing and personal grooming supplies. A set of encyclopedias. The only indication of time down here. Just some clothes and a couple of storage boxes.
Nichts weiter, okay.
The lab assistants share a room? Not sure if that's progressive or scandalous.
Ja, warum noch nicht? Ich meine, ist ja auch hier unter der Erde, ne? Wir reden mal mit ihm hier.
Hey, can we talk?
Sure. What's on your mind?
Have you been down here long?
About 7 months, I think. Without any sunlight, you really lose all sense of time. Sometimes it feels like decades.
No sunlight? You mean you never go outside?
No, of course not. Is this some kind of test? The terms were made very clear when we signed on to this project. We don't break protocol. I do really miss the sun, though. Sometimes I feel like a mushroom down here.
Mhm.
How did you become interested in etheric research?
I was already a researcher when I met Dr. Clark, but my field was chemistry. I had dabbled some with etheric experiments after hearing about Clark's research. When I saw him at the Lamplight City Expo, I knew I wanted to work with him, despite what happened. After the dust settled, I approached him about taking me on as an assistant. I got the feeling he was just surprised to still have any support.
Don't you ever get bored here?
Sure, all the time. We've got books, but I've read them all. This is my third time through this one. At least this phase of the project's near completion. Maybe we'll get some time up top before the next one.
Never would have dreamed there was a whole secret facility hidden under this rock in the middle of the bay. Who built it anyway?
The military, I guess. Had to be someone with very deep pockets. Everything was already in place before they moved us in.
What are your thoughts on Project Rosewater?
Honestly, I try not to think about it too much. We're doing important scientific research, I can't deny that. Just because our focus is on weapons doesn't mean our results can't be used for other applications.
Manchmal ist das leider so. Das Problem ist nur, dass die Forschung in Waffen natürlich darauf abzielt, dass man vorher einen Vorteil bekommt gegenüber anderen Nationen, Menschen, ja, Gruppen. Und zwar gewaltsam.
How do you like working with Dr. Clark?
It has its moments, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't stressful. He gets wound up sometimes, which I understand. But other times he picks strange things to get cross about.
Like what?
Well, his biggest bugbear is food in the testing chamber. I made the mistake of taking my lunch in there once, and he just about had a conniption. Cleanliness is one thing, but this is a whole other level.
So Clark dislikes food in the testing chamber, does he?
Dislikes? More like detests.
Know anything about General Laporte?
I saw him once, right at the start of the project. Didn't talk to him. He seemed kind of intense. He's the one running this show, as far as I can tell. Beyond that, the man's a total mystery.
Is there any way to call the elevator from down here?
Not unless you have the code, and none of us do.
So how are you supposed to get back up?
We aren't. Not until the project's finished. But there's always a guard stationed up top. We use the device next to the elevator to call up if we need anything.
Ich brauche Essen.
Okay, see you around.
Bye.
Ich brauche Essen.
Odd device. Looks like...
I don't think...
Hey, Danny?
Yes, Harley.
How do you suppose they managed to build a place like this under an island?
Don't know, but whoever did it must be real serious about Dr. Clark's research.
Hey, Nadine. I never would have guessed a place like this existed if we hadn't seen it with our own eyes.
It certainly explains all the stories about strange lights and ghosts. Perhaps the island's reputation was the reason they chose it to house this facility.
Pardon me.
Sorry, can't talk right now. If you've got any questions, ask Dr. Clark.
Dr. Clark?
Yes, what is it?
Just how long have you been down in this facility?
8 months. We've made extraordinary progress, as you can see. I admit, I had some misgivings when I first learned what would be required of us, but it turns out the isolation has done wonders for our productivity.
So who built this whole underground complex anyway? I'm guessing it wasn't always a secret ethericity lab.
I'm not entirely sure. Apart from the additional equipment I specified, everything was already prepared for us when I arrived in El Presidio. General Laporte isn't exactly forthcoming with information he considers irrelevant.
Do you know much about General Laporte?
Not a great deal, no. I only met him when he summoned me to El Presidio. We speak occasionally, but only about professional matters. Just as well, I suppose. His interests don't align particularly well with mine.
So your relationship is purely professional?
It's an acquaintanceship at best.
Why did you agree to work on this project?
Why? I just experienced the worst disaster of my life. My work was first ridiculed and then outlawed, and I was exiled to a barren wasteland. The only prospect I could see was to leave the country and start everything over. But then I received General Laporte's offer. I could continue my work in safety and solitude. Everything I needed would be provided. No investors, no reporters, no loonies, no distractions. I'm certain anyone in my position would have jumped at the opportunity.
Who came up with Project Rosewater?
My understanding is that this work is for the benefit of the Vespuccian army. General Laporte is in charge of the project. Everything goes through him. Other than the facility guards, I've had contact with no one else.
How much longer until Project Rosewater is finished?
We're nearing the end of this phase. If all goes well, we should have a stable, fully functioning prototype by the end of the year.
What exactly is the goal of this project?
Well, once the etheric pistol is complete, we'll begin experimenting with larger caliber weapons.
Etheric rifles?
Yes, and whatever else the General sees fit to pursue.
Where does it stop?
You'd have to ask him that question.
How did this project get the name Rosewater?
My idea, sentimental really. I suppose I had gotten attached to my dry and dusty little desert lab. After all, Rosewater was my refuge when I lost everything else. I just made an offhand comment to that effect one day while discussing arrangements with the General. And he said, "Well, in that case, why don't you bring Rosewater with you?" When I found out he made that the official title of the project, it made me smile, I'll admit.
Okay.
Just how did you come to discover the existence of ethericity?
Now that's a story. When I was a boy, I read about the ancient Greeks and their studies of the heavens. Certain texts made obscure references to observations of energy subsisting in the atmosphere. Something entirely different from electricity. The idea seized my imagination and sparked my passion for the pursuit of ethericity. I developed an instrument that I called the aetherometer in order to probe the atmospheric potential. Imagine my delight when I discovered that ethericity was in fact real. Unfortunately, the aetherometer has been appropriated by so-called spiritualists who believe they can use it to talk with the dead.
Vielleicht ist es ja auch was dazu.
I'd like to know your perspective on the Lamplight City Expo incident.
That was a dark day. Everything I worked for came crashing down in a matter of seconds. Being maligned and ostracized was bad enough, but I can still hear the screams of those 15 poor souls. If anything good can be said to have come from that horrible event, it taught me that nothing in this life is guaranteed.
What inspired you to become a scientist?
Trite as it may sound, I wanted to make the world better. I had a fortunate birth. My parents were able to pay for my studies in Paris, which is where I earned my doctorate in physics. But even as a boy, I still saw plenty of terrible things going on around me. Others seemed not to see, but I did. Upon my return to Vespuccia, I began teaching and conducting independent research. My only explicit goal was to make some sort of discovery or development that would serve the advancement of mankind. I would like to believe I've achieved that.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Haben wir was zu essen bei? Ja.
Clark will see me. Definitely full of water. I just need to get it out. She's busy. Not while Clark's around. Hey, Nadine. Think you can occupy Dr. Clark's attention for a few moments?
I can certainly try. Oh, Doctor, could I have a word?
Yes, what is it?
Wir müssen sie loswerden.
There. Now to watch the fireworks.
What? Miss Montgomery, what is the meaning of this? How many times have I said, no food in the testing chamber?
But
I don't want excuses. Clear it out. Put away the power sail. We're done with testing today.
Yes, Dr. Clark.
I apologize for that, Miss Leger, but I'm very particular about rules.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Dr. Clark?
Yes, what is it?
Dr. Clark, there's something I need to tell you. We're not really from General Laporte's press corps.
What? Who are you then?
Some folks who are hired by D.W. Shaw to come find you.
The head of Vespuccia Petrol.
The very same.
What does she want with me?
She wants you to help her company pivot from oil to ethericity.
How does she intend to circumvent the ban?
She seems to think it'll be lifted soon. Or that she can influence things in that direction.
So she would have me work for VP to generate etheric energy for widespread use?
As an alternative power source, yes. It might even replace coal and oil someday.
Well, that's certainly more appealing than weaponry.
Auf jeden
But
Fall.
extreme arrangements have been made to develop this project in secret, and at considerable expense, I'm sure. It's not the sort of thing one can just walk away from.
Laporte doesn't have to know anything about this. We could fake your death somehow and get you away.
Miss Leger, let not be ridiculous.
So you're dead set on staying here? You won't consider Shaw's offer?
I admit it's enticing, but is it worth the risk?
I'm not so sure Laporte is acting in his capacity as a military general with the full backing and authority of the Vespuccian government here. We've seen plenty of things that don't add up. The clandestine nighttime shipments, the hired private agents, the hidden underground base, all the convoluted arrangements here, the fact that all this research is still technically illegal. I think this is all a side gig. Some kind of secret conspiracy running on misappropriated funds. Don't you see? That means he doesn't have power over you. You could expose everything that's going on here. You'd have leverage over him.
I think that means he could send someone to murder me to keep me quiet, and not lose a wink of sleep over it. That's not exactly convincing me to leave.
If it's Laporte you're afraid of, I'm sure Shaw can protect you.
Can she? The general is a powerful man. I'm not willing to risk getting on his bad side.
If nothing else, don't you want to get back into the world again?
Perhaps, but not badly enough to defy the Vespuccian military.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
Psst.
Nothing to say, really. Not while Clark's around. I don't think I'm allowed in there.
Okay.
All right there, Danny?
Yep.
I've got nothing to ask him. Can we talk?
I suppose so.
Just how long have you been working down here?
Good question. It's difficult keeping track of time. We're in September, right?
November, actually.
Oh, then it's been longer than I thought. We came down here in March.
What sparked your interest in etheric research?
I followed Dr. Clark's career from the early days. He was one of the first to begin advancing etheric theory with practical experiments. Not only that, He was getting results. After I graduated from university, I sent him my thesis on the effects of ethericity on plants and animals. I guess that made me one of the few practical researchers out there, too. He wrote back immediately with an offer of employment.
How do you keep from getting bored?
The work is pretty all-consuming, and we don't have much of a social scene down here. Dr. Clark is kind enough to lend us his books to pass the quiet hours.
Können die sich nicht einfach neue Bücher besorgen?
Do you know who built this place?
I suppose this is an old army base, but Clark's had it fitted with some really state-of-the-art equipment. We're lucky to be so well-resourced.
I was blown away by that demonstration. Figuratively speaking, of course.
Huh. We've been working on it non-stop, but there are a lot of kinks to work out before it'll be field-ready. For instance, we still can't get more than one shot out of each power cell. I suppose in an actual battlefield situation, you'd need to carry around a lot of cells and reload for every shot, like cannonballs. But the power cells are still very difficult to construct, so we only have a few prototypes. We have to recharge them constantly.
How long does it normally take to charge one of the power cells?
Around 6 hours.
Wow.
Wow is right. Joshua hooked one up to the etheric generator and discovered that it charged instantly. But Dr. Clark wasn't happy about it.
Why not?
He said it made the power cell unstable. But we didn't have to wait all day for the next trial, and Joshua was even able to get 2 shots out of that one. The overcharge effect is certainly something we should investigate later.
What was that about a faster way to charge the power cells?
Joshua figured out that hooking
Okay.
with Dr.
Between you and me, doesn't it concern you that ethericity is being weaponized?
Not at all. It's a powerful energy source, and this is one of many practical applications.
Sure, but isn't it better to use it for less destructive purposes?
We live in a dangerous world, and these are uncertain times. Other nations probably have their own etheric weaponry development programs underway. If we didn't pursue this research, we'd be falling behind. A new weapon is most useful as a deterrent. Having it in your back pocket means everyone else thinks twice before firing on you. I know Dr. Clark's had some moral reservations about the military applications of ethericity, but he's a professional through and through.
So, what's working with Dr. Clark like?
He's a brilliant man. I learn something new from him every day.
He seems short-tempered.
Well, yes, but that's just the genius mind, isn't it? No room left over for navigating social niceties.
Can you tell me anything about General Laporte?
Not really. I know he's the one overseeing this project, but I've never had the opportunity to speak with him.
Exactly how do you go about calling the elevator?
We don't. None of us have the code.
So you're trapped down here? What if there's an emergency?
That's what the communication relay is for. We contact the guard upstairs, and he can take care of whatever we need.
I appreciate the chat.
It's nice to have someone new to talk to.
Schwupps und gleich wieder lesen.
Nothing to say, really.
Achso.
A couple of wires from that food heating device. Dr. Clark?
Yes, what is it?
You'd prefer your research be used to find new ways to kill people?
No, but
Look, I understand. You suffered a terrible setback after the expo. I'm sure it must have been hard. You probably felt like nobody would ever take you seriously again.
You have no idea.
I do know that if I were in your shoes, I'd have probably grabbed onto any lifeline. But I can tell your heart's not really in it, especially knowing what it is you're building.
Yes, well...
So you're gonna squander this opportunity to do some real good in the world because you're afraid of a stuffy old general?
You're right, Miss Leger. This isn't about me. This is about humanity. I'll come with you.
Okay.
But... oh goodness. How shall we... We need to do this discreetly. My assistants can't know what's going on. I'm going to my quarters to settle some things. Excuse me.
Und wir haben eine Waffe mit 2 Schuss.
You certainly have a way with words, Harley.
That's why I try and get paid for them.
Okay. Speichern. Muss noch ein paar alte Sachen löschen. Nämlich leider nicht gesynkt. Bei GOG, weil zu viel Speicherplatz verwendet wird für Safe Games. Keine Ahnung, was sie speichern, aber die Menge an Safe Games sind immer über 400 Megabyte. Jetzt an sich nicht viel, aber nur 200 MB können pro Spiel gesynkt werden. Löschen wir hier noch ein paar. Und wie ich mitgekriegt habe, kann man eben halt wirklich unterschiedliche Enden hervorrufen. Unter anderem auch, wie viele Leute zum Ende kommen. So.
Locked, naturally.
Okay, das kriegen wir ja löst.
Got it. I'm sure they won't miss just one power cell. Or maybe they will. Either way, I've got one now.
So, das ist das Charging. Das heißt, wir wählen jetzt das.
There, it's charging. I think. This thing is taking forever to charge. There must be a faster way. I can't charge that. Drat. This doesn't seem to have charged at all.
Das war hier dran.
This seems like a good place to attach the wires. Here we go. Hope this works. Wow, it charged up almost instantly.
So, dann gucken wir mal, ob wir zu den Dr. Clark reinkommen. Oh ja. Vielleicht hat er...
Ah, hello. I'm just leaving a note for my assistants.
Explaining why you're giving them the slip?
I feel I owe it to them.
Might I borrow your screwdriver, Dr. Clark?
By all means.
At least there's plenty of books down here.
Das ist hier Kepler, Galileo
Who are
Galilei.
those busts of?
Galileo,
Copernicus,
Copernicus,
Kepler.
Da Vinci. 3 great men who changed the world as we know it.
Hoping to add your likeness to the collection someday?
Well, I wouldn't be opposed, if I'd earned it, of course.
A ferrotype of a desert landscape. It's a ferrotype of Clark's old lab near Rosewater. That is one messy desk. What is it they say about desks and minds?
Ich dachte, die stehen jetzt da. Ich nehme aber ganz stark an, dass wir damit die Waffe abmontieren.
So this is Project Rosewater. Let's hope nobody notices this is missing. Locked and loaded. flashing lights and other displays. I can't tell if it means something or is just meant to look pretty. It's displaying all sorts of numbers and readings I can't begin to comprehend. There's a card slot next to the door. It's unlocked. Clark must be in his quarters. I don't see any screws, and stabbing it won't help. There we go. Interesting. This metal plate has several contact points. Guess I pressed too many. Guess I pressed too many. Odd device. Looks like...
I don't think...
Hey, Danny?
Yes, Harley.
I'm not sure what to make of the elevator device.
It looks complicated. What happens when you press the buttons?
Little pistons come down and make contact with a metal plate.
So you're looking for the right combination or pattern? Maybe it has to do with that key card you
Ja,
used to
ja.
get down
Jetzt,
here.
wo er es sagt. Jetzt, wo er es sagt.
A strange wooden...
Lass mich mal aufmalen. Wir schieben es ja so rum rein. Das heißt, wir haben so. So. Das ist aber wirklich ein seltsames Muster. Dann ist das... Vorderste Reihe scheint gar nicht benutzt zu werden, oder? Oder warte mal, vielleicht packen wir sie jetzt hier drunter.
Well, how about that?
Okay. Haut schon hin, aber ist nicht direkt ersichtlich. Also haut schon hin, was ich vorher hatte.
Guess that wasn't the right code.
Was?
Guess that wasn't the right code.
Sind das die anderen, die nicht auf die Kontaktplatte treffen?
Guess that wasn't the right code. Damn. There must be a way to figure out which buttons to press. The configuration of the piston seems to be the key. Haven't I seen something like this recently? Looks like a more complex version.
Oder muss die Karte rausnehmen?
Guess that wasn't the right code.
Oder ist hier noch eine Reihenfolge?
Well, how about that?
Eine Reihenfolge notwendig.
Guess that wasn't the right code. Still not getting it. I wish this contraption just had a keycard slot like the one on the surface. I wonder.
I wonder was. Ah!
There! That was it. I figured out the code. The elevator's ready to be called.
Wonderful. Let's be going then.
Not just yet. I need to take care of the communications relay.
The what?
That contraption on the wall there. Clark said we need to disable it before we leave. I don't see any screws. Stand back. I'm taking this thing out.
Whoa!
I thought the plan was to do this discreetly.
Desperate times and all that. Now come on, let's get out of here.
You're taking the prototype, I see. Wait, where did you get a charged power cell? We only charged one up, and we used it in the demonstration.
I hooked this one up to the etheric generator.
You what? That's incredibly dangerous. That kind of unfiltered surge would leave the power cell completely unstable. Unless it's discharged within the next, 20 minutes. It will explode.
Oh, we'll have to worry about that later. Let's get back topside before your assistants figure out what's going on.
If that power cell starts glowing white, you had better let me know quick.
Okay, muss ich jetzt mein Inventar im Auge behalten?
After you, Doctor.
Oh. Wir werden schon erwartet.
Hold it right there.
Have a nice nap? I was hoping it'd last longer.
Shut up. Hand over your weapons and come with us. There's someone wants to see you.
Toll. Tolle Flucht. Super Flucht.
Taking some air, Dr. Clark? Kindly stand over there if you would. You three, up against the wall.
She had this funny pistol on her.
Ah, there it is.
Leuchtet gleich
Can't let
weiß.
this fall into the wrong hands, can we? Now, have you got anything to say for yourself?
How did you know we were here?
I had you followed after our encounter at the Jolly Good Club. You thieves are all the same.
We are not thieves.
No, you raided my supply wagon, broke into my private room, took my key card from my safe, and stole my etheric pistol. If you're not thieves, you should consider taking it up. You're naturals.
Don't turn this around on us. You're clearly the villain here.
Oh, is that what you think? It's clear to me you've no idea what you've stepped into. So, who put you up to this?
It was Gentleman Jake. He was leading us on a search supposedly for Clark's lost fortune.
Lost fortune? Curious. Though I'd be rather shocked if he came up with that all on his own. We've chatted long enough.
General, what are you doing?
Conducting my own test, Doctor. It's time to see if your prototype really works.
Not so fast, Laporte. I would strongly advise you not to fire that pistol.
And just who in blazes are you?
Timothy King, representing D.W. Shaw and Vespuccia Petrol.
Why have you come to this little summit?
Miss Leger and her companions were charged with delivering Dr. Clark to my employer. They are the company's responsibility. I'll have to insist you stop interfering with our agents and let them go.
You can't be serious.
I am.
Boys, take care of this louse.
Stand down, pendejo!
Ach, guck an.
Well, we've got all kinds coming out of the woodwork tonight. And who might you be?
Lieutenant General Marisol de la Vega. You must be General Laporte.
Seems you new Spanish revolutionaries are much cleverer than I was led to believe.
General Marquez assigned me to trace the suspicious shipments of Aurum passing through Fort Beaumont. The trail led here. Where is General Marquez?
He didn't make it. He gave his life defending us from Laporte's hired thugs.
What? No, it cannot be.
I tried to save him, but he was too badly wounded. I'm so sorry.
Laporte sent the Blackburns to ambush us. He's responsible for Phil's death.
I gotta put a bullet in your head, Laporte.
Do so, and you'll receive one in kind. That goes for Mr. King as well.
It would seem we have reached an impasse.
Ooh.
Not quite.
Jake?
I knew he'd be back!
Mr. Ackerman, I presume?
That's right. And you are?
General William Laporte.
Well, now we're acquainted, we can get to business. Harley, can you and the others step aside, please?
What are you doing, Jake?
What I should have done back at the wagon. Now move. General Laporte, I challenge you to a gentleman's duel.
Oh, please. Is the sad old washed-up cowboy that desperate for one last chance at glory?
No. He's looking for one last chance to do right by his friends. Now draw.
You picked the wrong man to duel, Laporte.
We'll see about that.
3, 2, 1.
Ach, er hat die. Lass sie weiß glühen. Sie glüht weiß. Wow. Nein!
Jake!
No!
Hands up, cobarde!
Miss Leger, are you unharmed?
I think so. You all right, Danny?
Yeah.
I can't believe... Guess deep down you were a hero after all.
Let's get off this rock, shall we?
Ja, wir hätten länger hinhalten müssen. Kann das sein? Ah, ist doch kacke.
Thanks for your help back there, Lieutenant General.
Ich hab nicht
You are
gespeichert.
welcome.
For what it's worth, I'm sure General Marquez would be proud to know you're leading the revolution now.
News of his death will be a great blow to morale, but we will carry on the fight in his name. He was an inspiration to us all. At the very least, the revolution can make use of the aurum stored on the island, now that the man who conspired to steal it is dead.
Technically, that aurum was government money and belongs to the people of Vespuccia. But as a citizen of this country, I say, have it, with my blessing. Viva la revolucion!
Gracias. We have a difficult path ahead of us, but I have hope.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Miss Leger.
Man kann alle retten, habe ich gelesen. Alle.
We're back, ma'am.
I assume everything has been taken care of?
All loose ends have been tied.
Splendid. Send them in. You've no idea how pleased I am at your success. It's good to finally make your acquaintance, Doctor. I am D.W. Shaw.
The pleasure is all mine, madame.
We have much to discuss. First, I must conclude my business with Miss Leger and her companions.
Of course.
You've been through a great deal. I cannot thank you enough.
We were almost killed, you know.
I imagined it would be a dangerous undertaking. Yet here you stand before me. I won't keep you any longer. Here is your payment. Mr. Ackerman was promised 25,000, but considering all your trouble, I've increased it to 27.
Wow.
I'm sure you'll find it easier to divide.
Thank you, Mrs. Shaw.
Pleasure doing business with you. Before you go, I made some inquiries and learned a few rather compelling things about General Laporte. I could share the information if you like.
Go on, then.
It seems General Laporte was a staunch supporter of Mr. Atwood's trade party, quite vocal about his desire for the advancement of steam tech and etheric research. There were also rumours that he held some more controversial opinions regarding this country's sovereignty.
He was a separatist?
Apparently so.
You think Project Rosewater was meant to arm some kind of etheric revolution?
I am merely relaying the information I've learned. Anything beyond that is pure speculation. The only person with knowledge of Laporte's motives is the man himself.
And that information died with him. Well, with him gone and the prototype pistol destroyed, whatever plans he had can't come to fruition.
For now, yes. But I can tell you one thing about this world. It is rare that one accomplishes anything of note alone.
We should get back to our hotel. It's been a long night.
Indeed. Goodbye, Miss Leger. I hope you and your friends enjoy the rest of your time in El Presidio.
And thank you, Miss Leger. I appreciate your facilitating this new opportunity.
Best of luck to you, Dr. Clark. This was all very enlightening.
Am folgenden Abend.
So, what are you two planning on doing next?
I'm honestly not sure, but I think I will apply for a medical license after all. I may go back to the San Bernardo Valley, or I may stay here on the coast. It's something I'll have to discuss with Lola.
What about you, Danny?
I'm not really sure. Suppose it wouldn't be such a bad idea to visit my folks. It's been too long. After that, guess I've got to find a new line of work.
What about you, Harley?
Suppose I'll head back to Rosewater. I've got an article to write after all.
And I guess this is goodbye.
This is where we part ways, for now. But you know where to find me. And you can be damn sure I'll write back.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything.
Lola, Nadine was just talking about you.
Thought I felt my ears ringing. Anyways, I'm heading back to Rosewater. Wanted to see if you needed a lift.
We're heading back already?
Sure, but just for a few days. We'll set out again after that. Anywhere you like.
You ever for a moment consider just slowing down a tad?
Never. Say your farewells and let's go.
See you around, Danny. It was a real pleasure traveling with you.
So long.
Goodbye, and good luck.
Einige Zeit später. Ich dachte, wir haben jetzt unsere eigene Zeitung.
I'm back.
Well, look what the cat dragged in.
Did I miss anything while I was gone?
Let's see. There was a dust devil by the saloon that nearly knocked Sheriff Gamble's hat off.
Front page news, then.
Seriously, though, I spoke with the leader of the autumn. She gave me some good stuff. The article runs next week. What of your great adventure?
Concluded now. But I've got plenty of material for an article. Maybe even 5.
Then you'd best get to it. Better to jot everything down while it's still fresh.
Right you are, boss. They say the end of every journey marks the beginning of another. If there's any truth to that, this writer hopes the next one is decidedly duller. My companions and I set out from Rosewater and traveled across the Vespuccian frontier, encountering bandits, rebels, visionaries, eccentrics, and many more friends and foes. We were led to believe that our quest was for Dr. Bennett Clark's missing fortune, but as it turned out, we were on the trail of the very man himself. The following is an account of that journey, with no detail spared, no fact left unrelated. And so at the journey's end, you may ask yourself, dear reader, what of the main players in this saga? Danny went home to a happy reunion with his parents. He says he's hung up his pistols and retired from gunslinging, with the intent of pursuing a culinary career. I said I'd be a regular if he ever opened a restaurant. I shall have to honor that promise should it come to pass. Nadine Redbird has begun the process of obtaining her medical license. She tells me she plans to convert Lola Johnson's wagon into a kind of mobile clinic, traveling the frontier, helping those in need. It will be a welcome change from the usual traveling merchants hawking miracle cures. I can think of no one more qualified to dispense medical care. As for Miss Johnson, this new business venture will hopefully be more to her liking. At the very least, she now sets her own course, rather than bending to the whims of her clients. Miss Johnson truly opened up and offered me her friendship, for which I am ever grateful. I am truly happy that she and Nadine have found each other. I would be remiss to neglect mentioning our dearly departed friend. Phil Marquez was a great man. He was always true to himself, cared for those around him, and was just plain fun to be around. I will forever cherish the time I had with him, and I will carry his memory in my heart for the rest of my days. Naturally, I cannot fail to comment on Gentleman Jake Ackerman, the man who set this whole adventure in motion. My relationship with Jake could best be described as complex. While I never found myself taken with his tales, he seemed to me a genuine hero. That illusion was shattered when we were ambushed by Blackburn agents on the way to El Presidio. Jake disgracefully turned and fled, leaving us to face the ruthless barbarians on our own. However, he proved his true heroism when he returned in another moment of need. Jake bravely gave his life to save us from the wicked machinations of General Laporte.
Ihm sagen soll, darf nicht schießen.
Burned his shadow on a nearby wall, which has since become a monument to his bravery. I am told that it is visited daily by Jake's fans, admirers, and the odd curious traveler. In death, Jake managed to achieve the status of legendary hero he so craved. As for Dr. Clark, he seems happy in his new employment at Vespuccia Petrol. I can only hope his contributions to Mrs. Shaw's enterprise offer greater balm to the restless, inventive mind than the manufacture of apocalyptic weaponry. That, dear readers, is the long and the short of it. This was an adventure unlike any other I've been on. I doubt any other will ever compare. Though I say this not in reference to our route, purpose, or any of the situations or people encountered along the way. Rather because I doubt I will ever again find a group, a family as dear to me as the wonderful, complicated, beautiful, and flawed souls who accompanied me on this venture. Whew, my hand hurts. We'll see what Joni has to say about this in the morning. Well, what do you think?
You want my honest opinion?
Sie mag's nicht.
Ouch. That bad, is it?
No, not at all. It's great, actually. There's just no way on God's green earth we can print this.
Why not?
Secret underground laboratories, government conspiracies, special projects to develop etheric weapons. No one will believe a word of it. Not to mention you name some very powerful and important people who'd have me locked up for libel with a snap of a finger.
You're telling me I spent all night writing this article for nothing?
No, let's not be hasty. Maybe what you wrote just wasn't what you meant to write.
Come again?
This story's got everything. Adventure, mad scientists, conspiracies, betrayals. Folk would pay through the nose to read this. If it were a novel.
Novel?
Sure. All you have to do is change the names, do a little narrative restructuring. You can even say it's based on actual events. That way we're off the hook if anyone's feathers get ruffled. What do you think?
A whole book, huh?
Trust me, I have a nose for these things. This one smells like a hit. You're sitting on a pile of aurum.
All right. I'll do it.
Excellent. Now all we need's a title.
That's your job, isn't it?
Suppose it is. It needs to be something catchy. Something simple yet evocative. Something like...
Okay. Danke, Francisco. Ich könnte wetten, zum Schluss hätten wir nicht sagen dürfen, du schaffst das, sondern er hätte nicht schießen dürfen. Dann wäre genügend Zeit vergangen, um, ne? Aber guck mal, Francisco hat eine Menge hier dazu beigetragen, logischerweise. Ist ja fast ein Mann an mir. Das war Rosewater. Und das war eine riesig lange Reise, wie ich finde, mit sehr guten Sprechern, die eine wunderbare Arbeit geleistet haben, dem Spiel wirklich viel Atmosphäre reinzubringen. Die haben wirklich einen guten Job gemacht. Die Geschichte ist natürlich eine riesengroße. Ich hatte es zwischendurch schon mal erwähnt. Die ganze Reise wäre wahrscheinlich eine Sache von 2 Stunden gewesen, aber die ganzen Mini-Geschichten, die dort eingebettet waren, auf dem Weg dorthin, haben das natürlich zum einen sehr stark gestreckt, aber zum anderen auch versucht, die Beziehung zu den unterschiedlichen Charakteren, die sich auf diese Reise begeben haben, zu festigen oder allgemein inhaltlich aufzubauen. Wobei mir irgendwie abhandengekommen ist, dass, ich habe den Namen vergessen, die Ärztin oder angehende Ärztin und Lola sich in irgendeiner Art und Weise stark angefreundet haben, dass sie nachher gemeinsame Sachen machen. Also das habe ich nicht mitbekommen. Ich fand es schade, dass die Charaktere oder uns Charaktere nicht mehr begleiten konnten. Und mich würde brennend interessieren, aber im Nachgang lesen und so weiter, was man hätte verhindern oder tun können, damit sie bleiben, wo sie sind. Ja? Also sprich, dass sie dabei sind und bis zum Ende dabei sind. Alles in allem ist es natürlich dann dadurch ein bisschen Drama. Schönes Spiel mit einem kleinen traurigen Flair. Es liegt aber einfach nur daran, weil sich die Geschichte so entwickelt hat aufgrund des Wegbleibens der beiden Charaktere. Ansonsten fand ich die Animation, die handgezeichneten Animationen sehr gut. Auch die ganzen Hintergründe, manchmal waren es natürlich viele Hintergründe für wenig Nutzen, aber ich glaube, das hat erst recht noch diese ganzen zusätzlichen, wie soll ich sagen, Vibes mit rübergebracht, ne? Dass man sich auch ein bisschen mehr in diese ganzen Sachen rein denken konnte. Was ich krass fand, war unter anderem auch die Geschichte mit diesen, ich nenne es jetzt mal religiösen Fanatikern, wie sich das entwickelt hat. Das fand ich cool gemacht. Aber auch jede andere kleine Mini-Geschichte, sei es jetzt durch die Über la Revolution, ne? Wunderbar. Ach, das sind die Musikstücke, die wahrscheinlich getaggt werden auf YouTube. Ist doch nicht so schlimm. Solange mir die Videos nicht gesperrt werden, soll jeder dran verdienen, wie sie lustig sind. Rotoscoping-Modelle. Ja, stimmt, wegen den Charakteren, ne? Ach, Cedes ist bestimmt seine Frau. Oder Schwester. Oder Mutter. Möglicherweise. Es gibt fast nichts weiter zu sagen. Also sowieso nichts Kritisches. Das war eine wunderbare Erfahrung, eine wunderschöne Reise. Und nach Lamplight City ist halt in dem Universum und natürlich indirekt auch die Geschichte weiter gesponnen worden. Ich mag immer noch diesen, sag mal, ist das Steampunk oder in welche Ecke fällt das eigentlich drunter? Das ist ja halt, wir sind noch, sagen wir mal, in der Pferdewagenzeit, ne? Kurz vor Automobil, Dampfmaschine im Allgemeinen. Auf der anderen Seite eben halt die Energieform, die man da hat, ne? Die Elektrizität. Wobei ich bei Lamplight City dachte, dass wir wahrscheinlich zeitlich weiter sind. Dort ist ja die Vorgeschichte dabei, ne, mit Dr. Clark. Das passiert ja da auch. Und insofern finde ich das cool, dass das in dem Universum noch weiter gelagert wurde. Und vielleicht gibt es ja dann möglicherweise noch einen weiteren Ableger. Ja, die ersten Autos waren definitiv E-Autos. Das stimmt. Auch sehr viele Fahrzeuge sind elektrisch gefahren, ne, mit Oberleitung. Busse zum Beispiel in der Anfangsphase. Bis dann nachher, das ist natürlich dann auch krass, wenn man dann jetzt mal so das jetzt mal rückblickend betrachtet, das Spiel, ne, was dieser Umstieg der Ölfirmen auf elektrisch oder Elektrizität ist ja im Prinzip elektrisch, mehr oder weniger, hier forciert. Neues Spiel Plus, wie geht das denn? Und auf der anderen Seite unsere eigene Historie, ne, dass Öl und Co. die elektrischen Fahrzeuge verbannt hat. So, was ist ein New Game Plus? Neues Spiel, Kurzszenen in Akt 2 wählen und Zugang zum Beziehungstracker für Gefährten mit Ctrl R. Oh. Kurzszenen im zweiten Akt wählen. Ja. Kurzszene Fossilienjagd, Laubenvogelschloss, Spiel, Bewegtbilder. Das sind die Szenen, wo... Oh, ich glaube, das sind die Szenen, wo wir die Beziehung zu den Mitreisenden pflegen. Fossilienjagd haben wir ja nicht geschafft. Warte mal. Okay, Moment mal. Hier ist eine Sache, die hatten wir gar nicht, ne? Laubenvogels Schloss hatten wir doch gar nicht. Bedrängtes Postamt hatten wir. Das können wir nicht ändern. Bewegtbilder? Wir gucken bloß kurz rein. Doch, wie gesagt. Weiter mit. Können wir hier. Wunderbar animiert. Okay, das Spiel geht von vorne komplett durch.
None of your beeswax.
Oh, but a small caution. Rosewater ain't always such a sleepy little town.
Hey!
Say!
Oh, ich klicke kurz. Ich dachte, wir springen.
But I don't. Go on.
Oh. Ich will mal Steuerung R drücken.
Now.
Okay. Gefährtenbeziehungsstatus. Was auch immer das dann nachher erhöht oder nicht. Aber wahrscheinlich können wir dadurch, wenn der Beziehungsstatus hoch ist, bleiben die am Leben. Vermutung. Ganz starke Vermutung. Gut. Mit Blick auf die Uhr, im Stream geht es gleich weiter. Mal gucken, mit was, bin ich mir noch nicht sicher. Aber hier, liebes YouTube, ist Feierabend. Das war Rosewater. Und wie schon gesagt, eine wunderbare Reise. Es hat mir sehr viel Spaß gemacht. Und danke, Francesco. Wunderbares Spiel. Bis zum nächsten Spiel. Euer Firefox.